we're trying to find the yield on this bond, and in this video now we're going to kind of wrap up the business with the yield on the bond. Now this was a $1,000 bond, 9% stated return, 10 years to maturity, bond pays interest semi-annually. We were told that the price of the bond in the market was $960. Based on that, we first calculated the approximate yield to maturity and found that to be 9.59%. Now the only thing this really tells us in this process is what's the ends of the pitchfork, which in this case is 9% and 10%. Now, when you set up a pitchfork like this to find a yield on the bond, you've got possible yields on the top of the prongs, and you have the price of the bond on the bottom of the prongs. So if the yield on this bond were exactly 9%, what would be the price of the bond in the market? $1,000. Price of the bond in the market is not $1,000, therefore the yield on the bond is not 9%. What would be the price of the bond in the market if the yield were 10%? Well, it'd be $937.70. Is the yield on the bond exactly 10%? No, because the price of the bond in the market is not $937.70. Whatever the yield is, and at this point we really don't know what it is, whatever the yield is, we know the price associated with the yield is $960. So just as I told you before with this pitchfork, the top of the prongs are going to read like a number line. Small number, 9% on the left, the large number, 10% on the right. With bonds now, what you put below that is the price of the bond at the various yields. Again, we don't know what the yield of maturity is, but we do know the price associated with the yield is the price of the bond in the market, $960. Once you have your pitchfork set up, on the upside, the large number on the right is always A, the small number on the left is always B. So 10% is A, 9% is B. X is going to be this price minus that price. 1,000 minus 960 is $40. Y is going to be this price minus that price. So 1,000 minus 937.70 is $62.30. When you interpolate whatever it is you're looking for, in this case we're looking for the yield to maturity on the bond, it's going to be equal to X over Y times A minus B plus B. X is 40, Y is 62.30. A minus B, 10% minus 9% is 1%. 40 over 62.3 times 1 gives you 0.6420%. It picks up this percentage deal here. Add that to 9%, you find the interpolated yield to maturity on this bond to be 9.6420%. That's the interpolated yield on the bond. In the bond business now, in investments now, you never use an approximate yield. You always use an interpolated yield. We're mimicking interpolation here, but we're rounding off as we do that. If we did this in Excel now, we would get exactly the same answer that our calculator would get. In fact, if you wanted to do this on a calculator now, future value is where you put the face value of the bond, $1,000. Payment, that's where you put the value of the annuity. This bond pays $45 every 6 months for 10 years. So $45 is the annuity. N is the number of payments. We're going to get 20 $45 payments. Present value, now that's where you put the price of the bond. As an investor now, that's an outflow. That's a negative number. So a negative 960 would go in, would be the present value. If you solve for I now, you get 4.8160. Now that's the semi-annual return on the bond. Semi-annual, because remember, these are semi-annual payments, semi-annual time periods. So the answer you get here is going to be semi-annual. There's a couple of ways to annualize this. I'm just going to let you do the easiest one at this point. Add simply this is how much we get every 6 months, multiplied by 2. This would be the annualized return. Just between me and you, that's not exactly right, but for right now, let's just do this. 9.6320% is what our calculator would come up with. Again, a little bit of a difference in the answer here. The difference now is due solely because of rounding error. Okay? What's the most accurate answer you're going to get? Well, the one that comes out of your calculator. It doesn't round. So the yield on this bond, you do it longhand, 9.6420%. If you do it on your calculator, 9.6320.